Good morning. Welcome to the Premium Public Video Forecast discussion for Friday, May 24th, 2024. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen D. Martino, your CDM meteorologist. I always like to put that in there. And of course, happy Memorial Day to everyone out there. It's the Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial start of summer for many people heading down to the shore, and also a very important time for us to remember and to give thanks to the people that have served our country in a variety of different ways. So, certainly a very important weekend in that respect. We start off in the tropics, where right now it is relatively quiet, but the National Hurricane Center is keeping an eye on this feature. Now, remember, you premium members know this. I've been keeping an eye on this feature, saying that, hey, it could become a little bit of a subtropical low pressure system. And what we're focusing in is right in this area right here. You see, with all this warm water over the Atlantic, you get this low pressure system festering along a stationary front, and it can develop into a semi warm core, what we call a subtropical low pressure system, where the upper levels are a cold core structure and the lower levels are a warm core structure. And this could happen for a brief time until the shear overwhelms the system. And basically, the signal for that would be this convection right here starting to bubble up over the center of circulation. Now, this is going to be a theme that we're going to be keeping an eye on quite a bit as we move into the first 2 weeks of June. I suspect it's going to be with a lot of cold fronts stalling around the Western Atlantic. There will be the potential here for some of these short waves to create some mischief. Another area of interest is down here. You see this little weak circulation taking place. It's a little bit too far south for any type of rapid development or anything of that nature. But the reason why I find it interesting is that this tropical wave with this weak wave of low pressure, hey, if this was a little bit later in the season and if it was up, let's say around here, well, it would certainly have the potential for some development. But why isn't it developing on the north side? Well, that's also a very important clue because see all of this haze here? That's all the Sahara dust coming off. So that's your dry air limiting any type of development. So for right now, the intertropical convergence zone is a little bit too far south for any type of meaningful development, which is typical for this time of year. But it's interesting to see this spin up trying to happen this far south. But at the same time, you can see the influence of that Sahara dust, what it could have on that type of development. And in the meantime, this has maybe about a 10-15% chance of actually developing, but most likely it is going to be basically shifting back to a cool core system. So I'm not really expecting anything significant. Now, I want to talk about the pattern overall to give you the overall theme for this weekend and beyond. And the overall theme is change. We're gradually changing from a La Nina influence into an El Nino influence over the next several days. So, with that transition, what can we really expect? Well, a lot of pesky upper level lows, like what we're seeing here, and the model guidance having a hard time handling these upper level lows. Now, I'm going to show you an example of forecasting here of how there's modelology and then there's meteorology. So we look at this pattern here and you look at this upper level low and you say, wow, look, the operational guidance is very much putting upper level low over eastern New England. That's going to keep us very cloudy with showers rotating around the region. However, when we take a look at the ensemble guidance a little bit further east, so, as a meteorologist, what you want to do is look at the overall pattern, not just what's sitting over your neck of the woods. And you look off to your west, and in all the model guidance, you see an evolution of a rather zonal jet cutting from, let's say, about the Rockies into the, let's say, upper Midwest and Ohio River Valley. Why is this important? Well, if you know meteorologically that you're going to have this zonal pattern here setting up to the west of you, then it's going to be awfully difficult to have upper level lows to set up right over you and just linger over you. Most likely, this is going to get pushed to the east. And then you recognize what's going on in the Atlantic. That has been going on for quite some time with this ridge trying to pop here. And then you have the below normal heights over in Greenland. you take all these factors and you understand that this feature is heading towards the Gulf of Alaska, and you combine all this and you say, okay, this feature, which is why the ensembles is bleeding more to the east and why the GFS is a little bit further to the east, is likely going to be further east than what the European guides are showing here. So let's say instead of here, it's here. Now, why is that important? Well, because that means that while we still have a maritime influence and still cooler temperatures, most likely you're going to get more of a mix of sun and clouds, but maybe an isolated shower here and there rather than days of rainfall. So that's a very important factor to consider as we look at the overall weather pattern moving forward. So that is a theme that we're going to be watching, and you can see the influence on the temperatures here. Again, we get a little bit more of influence from this polar-ish. I say polar-ish because the true polar air is up here. So modified polar air mass lingering over the region. And then you get more of a maritime influence where likely this is a little bit further east, but still you get the idea here. It's not exactly going to be summer-like for the first part of June, at least for the first couple of days of June, with more of a maritime influence in place. And that also keeps the potential for those isolated showers and variable cloud cover and whatnot. So when we take a look at our current observations, hey, get used to this feature, a stationary front hanging around the region through the through this morning. And this stationary front, so to the north of the stationary front, you have temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 60s. To the south of the stationary front, upper 60s to mid 70s throughout the region. Not a huge difference in the air mass, but there is a bit of a difference in the dew points and relative humidity in the atmosphere to the north of this front compared to the south of the front. Obviously, to the south of the front, as one of my followers described on X, it is a bit soupy out here around the I-95 corridor and along the coast. To the north, we have drier air, but not significantly drier. So what I'm trying to point out here is that there isn't a huge air mass difference. So the frontogenesis involved in the stationary front is not going to be really all that impressive, but it will be strong enough to support not much in the way of showers, but certainly the potential for variable cloud cover. Now, if you're looking for showers and thunderstorms, you want to look further south, like what we're seeing here around the Delmarva Peninsula. If you're heading down towards Wildwood or Cape May for much of this weekend, unfortunately, that's where you're most likely to see a lot of your pesky showers hanging around. But as you head further north around the central Jersey Shore, up through Long Island and Connecticut, you're missing out. Just a few passing cloud cover, and that's about it. So why is that the case? Well, this is the upper level winds at 250 millibars. And the reason why I want to show this is that, okay, we know our stationary front is like this, where our upper level winds are basically the same way. The reason why this is important is that when you have a cold front that is stalled out, it's usually because the upper level winds are running parallel to the cold front. You see this feature right here? It's going to be diving in later this afternoon and into tomorrow morning. And that's going to push the stationary front to the south. But it's not going to be able to hold its own very long. You see, the problem here is that we have so many shortwave troughs and ridges moving through. Here's a ridge here, here's a trough here, that is just going to cause this stationary front to waver north and south throughout the weekend. So as a result, you get this wavering frontal boundary. And then, as you can see on the skew T here, this is the two-dimensional, or should I say three-dimensional look at the atmosphere in a vertical profile. You could see at the surface, yeah, you got some humidity, but not a lot. I mean, it is soupy out there, but it certainly isn't supported for rainfall. You got a ton of dry air in the mid levels, more moisture towards the mid levels, and then more dry air in the upper levels. So, why is this important? Okay, so this is a perfect signature for mix of sun and clouds, but not much in the way of rainfall. Why? Because you have all this dry air here at 800 to 900 millibars, that anything that does develop is just going to evaporate before it reaches the ground. So more bark than bite on the radar, basically. So you see like a heavy shower heading towards your region, but it just ends up being a little bit of a few sprinkles and maybe a moderate burst of rainfall for a minute or two, but that's about it. So on our visible satellite picture, what you end up with is you get Further to the south, more cloud cover. Obviously, as I said, towards southern New Jersey, not all that impressive. As you head further north towards, let's say, the Poconos, Catskills, northern Connecticut, hey, it's pretty sunny out there. Not too bad, right? That is generally going to be the theme throughout much of this weekend. The water vapor satellite picture, unfortunately, I was missing some data, so we just got this still, but it really illustrates my point here. You got this shortwave, this shortwave, this shortwave, this one over here, shortwave ridge, another shortwave ridge. In between these two troughs here, you have a lot of activity moving on here. So a parade of shortwaves, but you would think like, hey, look, that means we're going to see a lot of rain. No, because these shortwaves are all competing with each other, they basically cancel each other out. So you get a lot of broken up, diffuse lifting parameters, but not a lot of rainfall as a result. On the infrared satellite picture, you can see, notice, where is all your strong lifting? Well, here in the plains, obviously, with some thunderstorms. But look, see this feature right here? It's all heading towards Canada. So all your strongest liftings are either heading towards Canada, towards the St. Lawrence River Valley and portions of Ontario and Quebec, or it's heading to the south of us. So we are kind of stuck in between as a result. So I'm going to take a look at the mile guides here over the weekend. We're going to have a series of shortwaves moving through, competing against each other, some shortwave ridges, some shortwave troughs. That's going to lead to a mix of sun clouds and a few isolated showers here and there. So if you have any outdoor plans for today, tomorrow, and Sunday, really not that bad at all. Now, Memorial Day is where things get a little bit tricky. Now, we have the shortwave coming in, stronger lifting coming in the morning hours, the strongest lifting is going to remain to the west, and that really remains the case into the afternoon hours at all levels of the atmosphere. But by the evening, that's when it reaches us, the strongest PVA, the strongest lifting. So this feature right here, along with the stronger cold air transport, which we have setting up at this time period, really sets up the potential for more widespread rainfall by the time we get to the late afternoon, evening hours on Memorial Day. Leading up to that point, really, we don't see much of an air mass change at all through the weekend. So basically, what you have now is what you're going to get for much of this weekend. And in terms of the moisture, here at 700 millibars, notice a lot of the dry pockets. We don't see anything sustained until we get to Monday evening, where we have that band of rainfall moving through. And it's going to have the potential to be pretty heavy because look at these precipitable water values pushing over 200. Anytime you see red on this map, that means that we're going to have a pretty good shot of seeing some heavy rainfall with this enhanced precipitable water values in the column of the atmosphere, okay? So when you see this signature, that's trouble. So in terms of cloud cover, look at the weekend. Mixed sun and clouds all the way through the weekend until we get to Memorial Day. In the morning, cloudy, but not much in the way of rainfall. Maybe isolated shower here and there. So if you're going to a parade, shouldn't be a problem. That cloudy conditions continues until that cold front blows through. And then on Tuesday afternoon, of course, we have sunny skies throughout the region, but still an unsettled weather pattern. So let's dive through this forecast. For today, mix of sun and clouds, isolated showers. The best potential is going to be down towards Cape May and Wildwood in those areas. High temperatures range from the upper 70s to lower 80s over the interior and along the coast, lower to mid 80s in the Delaware River Valley. For tonight into tomorrow morning, variable cloud cover, low temperatures in the lower to mid 50s over the interior, upper 50s to lower 60s along the coast. For tomorrow afternoon, scattered broken cloud cover. Again, I can't rule out an isolated shower, but generally dry conditions. Look for high temperatures in the lower to mid 70s on Long Island, upper 70s to lower 80s along the coast, upper 70s to lower 80s over the interior, and lower to mid 80s in the Delaware River Valley. For Sunday, scattered cloud cover. Again, isolated showers a threat, but not any type of widespread rainfall or anything of that nature. Look for low temperatures ranging from the upper 50s to lower 60s over the interior and along the coast in your suburbs, lower to mid 60s in your urban areas. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 70s on Long Island, upper 70s to lower 80s along the coast, and lower to mid 80s everywhere else. On Monday, Memorial Day, look for the low pressure system and the warm front to approach with overcast cloud cover in the morning. An isolated shower or two starting to develop in the afternoon. Look for low temperatures in the lower to mid 60s, high temperatures ranging from the upper 60s to lower 70s along the coast, lower to mid 70s over the interior, and mid to upper 70s in the Delaware River Valley. In the evening hours, widespread rainfall breaks out, continuing on into Tuesday morning with some heavier downpours, possibly a few embedded thunderstorms in here as well. Look for low temperatures on on Tuesday morning, ranging from the mid to upper 50s over the northern interior, lower to mid 60s along the coast. High temperatures on Tuesday afternoon as the skies begin to clear will range from the lower to mid 70s over the interior, upper 70s to lower 80s along the coast. On Wednesday, look for scattered cloud cover with an isolated shower or two possible, with a bare potential for showers towards the evening hours. Look for low temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 50s over the northern interior, mid to upper 50s along the coast. High temperatures ranging from the mid to upper 60s over the interior, lower to mid 70s along the coast. On Thursday, a low pressure system will exit. Now, here is where, again, we see the difference in the forecast, where I think this is going to be further east. Notice the bagginess here in the model guidance here. This tells me most likely your low pressure system's out here with a trough. This is probably overdone. So we'll go with scattered showers on Thursday morning, but not anything heavy, I don't think. Look for low temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s over the northern interior, lower to mid 50s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 60s over the northern interior and upper 60s to lower 70s along the coast. Again, very interesting forecast playing out. By the time we get to the afternoon hours, we got a few pesky showers, but that is about it. I'm going with drier conditions on Friday with sky cloud cover and a few isolated showers. Look for low temperatures in the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast. High temperatures in the upper 60s to lower 70s over the interior, lower to mid 70s along the coast. That is your forecast discussion for today. Have a wonderful day, and as always, stay safe out there.